wanna get high, man?
Let's stimulate your mind.
Get up, Chucky! What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
Rojan Kim?
Hello, and welcome to the Rojan Kim cast. It's me, Rojan Kim. Dark days have fallen over America. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is dead. Democracy is dead. What will we do as a country? As humanity? How can we possibly move forward? People, of course, are upset. There was a massive outcry of sadness amongst people online. Here's a little clip from some of the well thought out things people had to say after her death.
Holy fucking shit, you guys! I don't know why. Because I'm driving in club and I just got a notification that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. Maybe we can have the conversation about dismantling the two-party system. This year, getting fucking maybe we can do that later, kiddo.
Okay, well, that was well said. And of course, you know, we have to believe all women. So whatever it is they said, I'm all for it. Seemed to be a lot of just screaming and pretending to be somebody having to talk about politics to somebody. I don't know. It just, it's hard to take seriously. I'm going to be honest. I mean, look, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Did she do a bunch of stuff in the Supreme Court? Yeah. I mean, a bunch of stuff for gender equality, I guess. I don't know. I should have looked it up. Should have looked up what she did, but I didn't look it up. I'm sure she was an amazing woman. She was appointed to the Supreme Court of the United States. That's, you know, a big deal. It's a lifetime appointment, which I have a lot of problems with. I mean, don't you? You think any job should be a lifetime appointment? The lady was 87 years old. We have fucking iPhones. You know what I mean? We have fucking autonomous vehicles. We have robots taking over everything. And she's going to help us out. Like, I guess she would be there. I mean, I think it was weird how everybody is just hinging democracy on the life of this one woman, you know, one old woman who's, you know, because I get it, you know, it's like, oh, conservative court, liberal court, and they want a liberal court or a progressive court or whatever. Ruth Bader Ginsburg thought Colin Kaepernick's kneeling was dumb. I don't know. I don't know. Was she progressive? I don't know. She was like an 80 plus year old woman. Is that how liberal? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, how progressive? I guess you could still be progressive if you're old, but I think you can't be like, you're not really like in touch with everything, are you? I don't know. And then to put it all on her, it just seems, you know, everybody's like, you gotta vote in Biden because, well, first it was like, because he has to be the one to replace Ginsburg, not Trump. And now that she's dead, there's this whole thing going for it. And it's just like, guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing when we can bring her back? Don't you get it? We have the technology. We can bring her back. You know what I'm saying? We can exhume her body and reanimate it, fill her full of nanomachine, some kind of self-regulating nanomachine mechanism, you know, just bring her back. Or why don't we just put all of our resources into reanimation? Bring her, you know, just make her into like a cyborg / nanomachine construct. Maybe she has a body. Maybe she's just a conscious entity inside of the internet, like Ghost in the Shell. You know what I'm saying? We could maybe take her consciousness and download it into a phone, like a Ruth Bader iPhone. I don't know, like an Android iPhone. I don't know. Probably iPhone. That's probably will be the phone of choice for the political elite. I think it is, actually, which some people are pointing to. Can't be good, right? It can't be good if all of the political elite has one type of phone, right? It can't be good. I could foresee some things going down, maybe a couple things going down because of that. Anyways, all right, don't put her on the cloud, or give her a sweet, sick Darth Vader-like body. You know what I'm saying? Like Darth Bader Ginsburg. You know what I mean? Like, just put her in a sick fucking robot body, put her on the core, and just, we must uphold gender equality. You know, like that would be awesome. That would be so great. It was I will increase maternity leave to 6 weeks more, or something like that. I don't know. That was clumsy. I should have been more prepared. Just like I should have looked up her background. I should have done more practicing on the voice. Okay, I was just making. Women make an average of 71 cents on the dollar. We need an equal pay amendment. Which, by the way, equal pay. Do I need to get into this? The gender disparity. Do you guys? Oh, come on! I know the fucking boys are listening, right? The fucking boys are listening. They know that shit ain't real, right, boys? Now look. There's the gender wage gap. If you listen to Jordan Peterson, you already know all this stuff. But really, if you just go online, you can actually look at the study that everybody uses to cite that number. That, and I think it's like 81 cents or 78 cents, whatever. That number comes from. You just look up gender wage gap, and it's like one of the first studies that pops up. And in the same study, they'll say that number is like an absolute number. It's like doesn't really control for things like days worked, fields, anything like that. It's just like these, you know what I mean? So it's actually like a meaningless figure. It doesn't mean anything. You have to look inside of fields, right? You got to look, and when you do that, when you control for that, look inside of fields, control for the amount of time, it was like 91 cents on average to the dollar. Okay, so yeah, all right, still low. In some fields, when you do fields like medicine, teaching, some fields women outperformed men. Made more. So what the fuck does that mean? What is that? Does that mean anything? Does that mean that there isn't, does that mean that there's a gender wage gap disparity the other direction? Men need to be paid more in those fields? What does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, that's not something brought up. Is it Ruth Bader Ginsburg? You are in contempt of gender court. What if she was in, you could put her in charge of gender court, could reanimate Ruth Bader Ginsburg's body, put her in her cyborg, turn her into Darth Bader Ginsburg, and then have her do like gender court. Maybe we'll have this supreme gender court in the United States, and then you'll bring people up before her who will be like refusing to use pronouns and stuff, and she'll be, you've been sentenced to life for not using the proper pronoun. Stuff like that. Like I would be sentenced for sure. They'd be, Rogan Kim, you are guilty of not respecting pronouns. I sentence you to life. That'd be awesome. I guess not awesome for me, because I'd be spending life in prison for misgendering. No, for not using pronouns. No, look, listen. It isn't that I won't use the pronoun. Okay, I'll use the pronoun. Tell me what the pronoun is. Fine. Use them. But I won't put my pronouns on my bio. Okay, I'm not gonna go that like you guys can use your pronouns and tell me what you want me to say. Tell me what you want me to say. The pronouns. All right, I'll do they, them, whatever, he, she, whatever you want. Zimzer. Okay. You want me to not say tranny? Okay. I won't say it in front of you. That's the best I can do. I'll say it. I'm saying it, tranny. I'll say it, but I won't say it in front of you. Okay? I'll call you Zimzer, and I won't say tranny in front of you. Okay? All right. That's fair. I'm not making you do anything. All right. Sorry. I'm not would I be labeled a term trans-exclusionary radical male? Or no, I'm not really a radical feminist. I'd just be transphobic. Okay, transphobic Rogan, just because I won't accept to never use the word tranny ever. Okay, just because I won't accept that. Yet I will still use your pronouns, but not put my own pronouns on my bio or something like that. I'm transphobic, okay? I'm transphobic, and that's what happened. And that's why I got fired from College Humor. That's why. Well, actually, there was no... Yeah, I did get fired from College Humor. I had a good run. It was a year or so. I honestly, yes. Most of the time was spent doing nothing, just collecting a check, because the management wasn't good. They didn't have me doing stuff, so I'm not going to go out of my way to be busy if the person running things has no idea what's going on. You know what I mean? I'm not going to just like make work for myself. Fuck it. So, you know, and that is, come on. Every office job, most office jobs, unless you're like head honcho, you know, like you're up there. If you're a lackey, an underling or whatever at an office job, half your time is spent pretending to work. You know what I mean? And then management kind of knows that and has to fucking balance those things. Cause it's like, as long as you get the shit done, shouldn't really care. Who cares, right? Just who gives a fuck? Just get it done though. Once you don't get it done, now we gotta be like, what are you doing with your time? You know, like you gotta start doing that. But overall, people are just kind of pretending to work. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I gave some Oscar caliber performances at my desk, like pretending to be busy, like just like, oh, I'm busy right now, just really working, and at the same time just fucking listening to Joe Rogan or something. You know, I'm just like fucking not working, busy not working. You know what I mean? Like a lot of effort put into looking like I'm working, but totally not working at all. Doing my own stuff on the side. Anyway, it's a combination of them not liking that I did a bunch of my own work on the side on their machines. I'm sure that was an issue, but that wasn't brought up. Nobody ever said anything. And the other part, everybody put the pronouns on their bios. It was like a big thing. One of the cast members came out as non-binary, and it's a big thing, and I didn't do it. And it wasn't like you had to do it. Everybody just did it without talking about it, but I didn't do it. And because I guess you can't make you do it. Nobody confronted me about it, but I didn't do it. Anyways, so one day out of the blue, I'm just called in by my boss, this chick, Theodore. She was like, there's a chick named Theodore, okay? Anyways, yes, the woman. I think those were her pronouns. She, her, what she told me that we're gonna have to let you go. And I was like, oh, okay. Why? And then she was like, because she was like she couldn't even come up with a good lie. She was like, because we are changing the position to another position, and we don't think you're not qualified. I was like, what? You didn't even ask me or tell me anything. I might be, you don't know, but it doesn't matter. Whatever. I mean, honestly, I was at, the end myself. It was like one of those relationship things where it's like, who's going to budge here? And usually it's me. I was going to quit, but I just, I needed the money, so I was taking the money, but then she fired me. I didn't even get 2 weeks. It was like that there, you can leave today. And you will, of course, I wasn't actually an employee. See, that's the whole thing about College Humor, right? College Humor is supposed to be progressive, and they're supposed to be, and they had a whole show about like, college debt and all that stuff. And the fucking owner, Sam Reich, is the son of the goddamn Secretary of Labor, Robert Reich, under Clinton. Robert Reich comes out all the time talking about how bad Trump is, and also about economics and this and that and whatever. But he was basically like a Clinton Democrat. Anyways, most of the people there were not employees. They had no insurance. They were permalancing. Permalancing, that nice little gray area where you can kind of make somebody work full-time hours but not give them any of the full-time benefits. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's some loophole that they created so that they could save money and you could go fuck yourself, like not have any health care and no job security either. That's why I didn't get the 2 weeks or anything. Like, that's why she was just like, you can go. But I was like, all right, I just fucking left. And then it wasn't until after the fact I was like, oh, maybe it was because I was working on my own stuff or the pronoun. I don't know. Anyways, I'm not bitter. I'm not I didn't fit there anyway. And the place went out of business in like 6 months. The whole thing tanked and they had to fire everybody and the whole thing is gone. So whatever. I kind of feel like I'm like, maybe it's luck, but I seem to be able to get in and get out, get in, get out of places, things, markets. Not like I'm a fucking bajillionaire or anything, but I don't know. I feel like, but it's just probably luck. I don't know. I've just been, hey, like I said, I fucking turned 42 this year. I was at a crossroads in my life. It's either subscribe to TikTok or the Wall Street Journal. Okay. And I picked the Journal. Okay. And then everything else that entailed, I canceled the Journal. Subscribe. It's $24 a month. It's like, fuck that. There's so much other news and podcasts. There's a whole world of finance and market stuff. And It's kind of boring. A lot of it's kind of boring. A lot of it's kind of interesting. In the end, it's like I think I said this earlier. It's just like it's either gonna go up or it's gonna go down. It's either gonna go up, it's gonna go down. It's going down now. Can it go down any further? No way. There's no way it can possibly go down. It's gotta go up. And I'm oversimplifying it, but to varying degrees of like analysis and intelligence, that is literally what it is, right? Like, because it's just on the lower end, you got your Wall Street bets, kind of like Reddit dudes, like fucking Robinhood bros, who are just like, stocks only go up, 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 up. It's the logic of like, if it's going up, it's gonna go up further, it's gonna keep going up, right? And then you have the contrarian bros who are like, dude, if it goes up over and over, that's the clear sign it's gonna go down. You know what I mean? Like, they're just basically just gambling on ups and downs, right? And then on top of that, you can throw in options, and there's all these derivatives, all these things that spin off of it, but it's all about whether or not the price of something is going to go up or down. And then let's just say, like, with every sort of degree of education, like college degree, MBA, PhD, whatever, it's like just more and more like technical analysis, just bigger words, longer, more graphs, lots of math. Math, you calculate, just trying to figure out, is this the right price for it will it go down? If it goes down, should I get it at this price? You know what I mean? It's like real minutia of the ups and downs of price. So I get it. I get it why it's like it's like an autistic person's playground. Are you kidding? There's so much data, numbers, and crunching. Is it going to go up or down? And all of that. And you could be like super smart. People make tons of money just like picking stocks for people, analyzing them, telling them why they think it's going to go up or down. You know what I mean? Like just videos. They got all these things. Fucking Elliott waves and fucking technical analysis. All this, tons of money made all around teaching people to trade the market or to try to make money. And, I think I said this already. It's kind of just like comedy, right? It's like a bunch of people trying to teach you to do a thing and not actually doing it themselves, and you're not actually doing it. You know what I mean? Like by learning analysis, you're not actually trading the market. You're just learning about how people look at the market, and then maybe you can look at that yourself and trade. But if you just went and traded, maybe you'd come up with your own analysis. But, who's to say what's right and what's wrong? Nobody knows. That's where the money is. That's the same thing as comedy, right? It's like, if you're not a successful, quote unquote, if you're not making money doing comedy, one of the things you could do is teach other people to not make money in comedy. Teach them all. Teach them to take their money. You teach them, you get them prepared, and then you send them out into the world, and then they go out there and fail on their own, And really the failing part is the part where you learn. Just like in the markets, trading, it's every kind of learning. Like, have I lost money? Yeah. I lost $80 fucking around with options and then realizing, what the fuck? I have no idea what I'm doing. I lost $80 and I just pulled out of it, right? But that's fine. I lived and I learned. I lost $80 fucking buying Tesla stock right after the stock split like a moron. I was like drunk or something. It seriously was like one of the rules, right? It's like, you shouldn't trade. Don't trade emotionally or drunk or high or whatever. But I was just like, stock split. I bought it. And I remember in the morning being like, what? Did I just buy Tesla stock? Like, this is too easy. It's too easy, right? And then I lost fucking $80 on it. I was like, I'm just going to get out of this. And then I just kind of took all my money out. Not like I had tons of money. I just have stimulus money, so I just took stimulus money out. So I lost a couple $100, $160. There you go. But I did make $160 or 100. I don't know. I made whatever. I kind of broke even a little bit over, but not much. It's not like I'm a big player. I'm not a big player in the market. You know what I'm saying? But I do think it is interesting just thinking about what the next 5 or 10 years is going to bring for this country economically, especially after this lockdown, right? Because yes, we've had 6 months of economic inactivity, right? Just crushing small businesses. I mean, the tech stocks are booming, stock market's roaring and booming. I mean, it's crashing right now, but booming, whatever, like there's just sort of disconnect between the money in the markets versus the money amongst the people. Like the people are like definitely losing, right? They don't have the money. So that's going to be the pressure. That's what the pressure is right now. It's like, you got to save Main Street. Everybody's saying you got to flood people with money. You got to, or else this shit's going to go down. Listen, the way people are acting over Ruth Bader Ginsburg, they're losing their shit. Okay, if they lose the election, they're just gonna lose their shit even more. Okay, unless there's something for them to lose. Okay, it's like people with nothing to lose are willing to just burn it all down. But if you just give them stuff, give them money, let them have stuff, then they're gonna be less likely to burn stuff down. Or they'll use that stimulus money to buy a bunch of weapons to burn stuff down. That might also happen. That could totally happen. Can't always time the market. Or they could take all that money and put it in the market and stocks keep going up. Yay. It'll never go down. Never. Never. So most people are saying, these macroeconomic people, a lot of them are saying like, wow, that just means that inflation's a-coming, right? Inflation's a-coming, and the Fed is saying we're going to do everything we can to fight inflation, which, means all kinds of things, lower interest rates, whatever the fuck. They just don't want inflation. Here's the thing. I don't really care about all these numbers and stuff. This is the bottom line. I have a lot of student loan debt, okay? I have about 6 figures of student loan debt because I decided to go to an Ivy League school for film like a moron. But it's fine. It was fine. Was it worth it? Sure. Could it have been cheaper? Yes. Okay. Great experience. Anyways, that debt to me could be inflated away if inflation occurs. If inflation comes, that means the money is worth less. That means the debt becomes worth less. That's good for me. That's good for me because I'm living in the red. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much money I make on the side, on stocks or whatever, it's like I'm still in the red. So inflation, yay, that's good for me, right? Bad for everybody else, I guess. Well, that's the thing. The whole country has debt. It runs on debt. So if you start inflating the money, the debt's going to go down. And that means all the people who are owed that money are going to lose money, and that makes them very sad. People don't like to lose money, even if it means everybody has money. So that's a conundrum, right? Because on the other side, you don't want deflation, right? That means prices, everything's going to just go down. Prices are going to go down. It's just going to be this spiral of like prices go down, people make less money, and people start saving, and blah, 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 blah. And that's a nightmare for the economy as well, because this is like a spending-based, consumer-based service economy, right? We need to keep spending. Somebody has to buy our debt so that we can just keep spending. But then, can we keep this up? I don't know. Some people are saying no. That it's all going to come crashing down. I don't know, man. I don't know. So that's why, people are like Peter Schiff, right? He's crazy about like the dollar is going to be worth nothing by tomorrow. Like that's his whole thing, is that the dollar is going to be worthless. It's going to be Weimar Republic. I don't know. I feel like it's like, you can't just look at history and be like, this is the way it's going to be, but I think it's that saying, right? Like history rhymes. It doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, right? So that's sort of the whole thing. All these like analysts are saying like, we're in a different time now, right? It's not the same as back then. We're off the gold standard. We got the U.S. as the reserve currency. It's a total different time. So maybe that's true. Maybe everything will be fine, guys. Stocks only go up. Maybe. I don't know. So I feel like it's weird. We have this thing where, see, on one hand, we have this kind of deification of our public figures, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, right? And this deification of like money, right? Like money is, and the markets, right? Like the markets mean everything. Like all these things mean things, but what they actually are just constructs, just like confidence games. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know her. So yet she has affected my life, I guess, through the things she's done as a public servant. But I have no emotions attached to her. You know what I mean? But other people have. Other people really did have deep and strong emotional attachments to her, even though they didn't know her. It was more like this idea, this construct of her. Everybody's sort of mental projection, and it's a confidence game. Everybody's like confident that she's a good person. She's the only thing standing in the way of women's rights being gone forever. Aren't there like other women on? Isn't there another woman, Elena Kagan and Sotomayor? Aren't there two other women? Anyways, so they're like, it's a death. It's the death of the. It's this deification of her, like she's a god. Now that she's died, like the evil's gonna come. The evil's god. She was the only thing holding Tiamat at bay. You know what I mean? Like she's the only thing holding the evil at bay, and now she's dead, and that is sort of this mythic construct that we've all agreed on. Not all of us, but most people, in order to make that projection of her personality, right? Of who she is, right? As opposed to the actual person. I mean, they made a documentary. You know what I mean? The media and all this stuff. There's all this stuff created to make her larger than life in a way, and just cement who she is in people's minds. Now, and then you have also like the markets. Markets are very similar. The markets are similar in the way that it's a confidence game. It's a game. Not everybody's agreeing on it, but it is sort of this conflict between bulls and bears over the price. Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? But it's really sort of like a projection of confidence in things, like people's projection of where things will be next year and the year after that. Is it a good value now because of how it'll go? It's like everybody's kind of propping up this idea of what a market is because, it's like mutually agreed delusion. We're all agreeing that, like, yes, this thing is worth this, and this is how we figure it out with U.S. dollars, and we'll get, we're all agreeing with it. It's a big old confidence game, just like the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar is a confidence game. It's the idea of the thing, right? It's not like the dollar itself is just a piece of paper, right? It's not even tied to anything. It's worthless. It's worthless, but we're just printing it. It doesn't matter. But at the same time, what matters is the confidence behind it, like the confidence around the world, and like people are saying, yeah, the U.S. dollar is a safe place to hold your money. The money is going to be fine for years. It's going to be great. I mean, now that's not the case. That's no longer the case, but that's what was the case, since the 70s to now. Now you got a bunch of countries buying gold, Bitcoin, equity stocks, like shit, land, like getting out of U.S. dollars. Get rid of your U.S. dollars, because like if you have a pile of $1 million U.S. dollars and that goes down, right? It like inflates to the point where it loses half of its value. Then you got half of what you had, just holding on to half. Meanwhile, if you had something like Bitcoin or gold and it actually goes up relative to the dollar, then you'd be making, then that's what people are saying is a hedge against losing that money, right? You throw in some of that extra cash you have holding around in assets to try to make sure that if there is some kind of inflationary thing going on or the dollar gets fucking debased, you're okay, right? You're not fucking ruined. Makes a lot of sense. I'm 100,000, no, I'm like 12, 120,000. I'm like I'm 6 figures in the hole. So it doesn't matter. None of this matters. All that matters. If we become the Weimar Republic, I'm out of debt. I'm debt free. I can maybe raise that money, raise that $100,000 in like a day. That might be the minimum wage for all I know. Who knows what'll happen? Anyways, I feel like in some ways it's like we really are like children, like primitive children that use these stories, use games, just to keep the whole world afloat. Like the economy is being kept. The best thing, or whatever, the best sort of like mechanism to determine price is the free market, right? That's what people are saying. And the market as a whole, like the global market, is sort of this thing we've all agreed that, like, yeah, stuff has worth and we use money and we buy stuff. It's like we've all agreed on that. And I think if you read Sapiens, what's his name? Yuval Harari or something. Sapiens is the name of the book. He talks about how that humanity, one of the advances of humanity is sort of like empire and trade, like money, right? Like just the idea that we agree that this piece of paper assigns value and we're all agreeing on it. And even if we don't speak the same language, we can at least agree that this piece of paper, this gold or whatever is valuable, and we'll trade based off of that. That in and of itself is one of the biggest advancements, just like technologically, sociologically, in humanity, because it allowed us to move beyond just tribes versus tribes, move beyond bartering. It allowed us to take the steps into becoming global, right? Also sort of a parable of analogous to the Tower of Babel. If we have one global currency and one global government, perhaps we'll be just like the Tower of Babel, and the Lord will come and mix us all apart again because we built a tower too high. The tower was too high, almost poked him in the eye, and so he came down and smote us. Okay, so that could happen. POTUS, SMOTUS. Okay. I feel like have I just been rambling? I mean, I know I started off talking about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and how we could bring her back. How we could reanimate her body, turn her into Darth Vader Ginsburg and put her in a gender court. Now in session. You could do that. And then I just spun off into talking about the markets. I don't know why. Well, I know why, because I've been fucking looking at them fall and studying them and trying to, I'm just trying to learn. I mean, in some ways I realize it's like, this is silly. But in other ways, I'm like, it's not. It's probably better than learning TikTok dances, okay? It's either I learn how to find the fair value of a stock price, or if I can learn how to synchronize my TikTok dance to this Drake song, okay? As a 42-year-old guy trying to get views. And then all those millions of views are actually just kids being like, look at this fucking old guy trying to... what the fuck is wrong with him? He should go read the journal instead. Anyways, I do think that like we have this interesting issue with like the deification and also like false dichotomies, right? Just the idea that like we live in a world where everything is Coke and Pepsi, Apple, Android, right? It's just like you're given two choices: Democrat, Republican, red, blue. You're given two choices: conservative, liberal. You're given these two choices, and that's it. And we're sort of made to believe that there's only these two choices. So then I feel like it's kind of an illusion of choice, the binary, Coke and Pepsi. Yeah, you could choose one or the other. But are they really that different? Like, are they really that different? I mean, yes, of course, there's millions of sodas you could choose. That's just, that's just my analogy for like this sort of binary thinking. Because like, if the soda world had gods, who would be the two biggest gods? Coke and Pepsi, right? They would be the Lord, but they're actually not that different. That's the whole thing. The brands, because it's branding, right? Branding is like sort of, it creates an identity, and then it creates the illusion that like, ooh, you are differentiating yourself from other people by going to this thing. But really, you're sort of inside of a larger pen where you're only allowed to go in two directions. But from your point of view, it feels like, wow, I'm choosing one of two, really meaningful choices, right? And so I don't know. I feel like it is an interesting thing. I mean, this isn't conspiratorial. Like, this is all by design or something. I don't know. I mean, I personally don't know, but it is interesting. So if you have something like China, like one party rule, you only have one choice, right? So that's it. You just have one choice, and any other choice is seen as dissent. So that's pretty much, there's no real conversation here. This is just what it is. And I guess inside of the thing, you could be like, yeah, no, you could choose who's in the party or whatever, but that it is what it is. I think with the two-party system, what you're doing is like, it's kind of like that, where you're forcing people into choosing, but you're giving them the option of two choices. So it's like, you're being forced into a pen, and then there's two directions to go. And then both directions lead to a larger pen. That's the same pen, but it feels different. And it seems different, and it's marketed differently, And so it's like you got the Ruth Bader Ginsburg loving people who are like, oh, no, we're on this side. This is us, Team Blue. We're on the left. And then the ones who are, I don't know if they'd be happy. I haven't really seen anybody be like, I'm glad she's dead. On the other side, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like the other side that's like, we got to get a Supreme Court justice in there now. The side that's like, yeah, we got to get another conservative judge in there. Yeah. That side, they're equally sort of playing this game where it's like everybody's sharing the delusion of the illusion of choice, right? We're all playing, so I don't know. I just think that's something, to chew your biscuits over. I don't know what that means. That's something, right? Everything is sort of it's a dumb war. Everything is a stupid war. It's this versus that. Everything is like two things. It's just two things, right? Except for, of course, the number of genders, like Kurt Metzger says, right? We have 64 genders, but only two political parties. I don't get it, right? Like the College Humor girl could come out as non-binary, and that's fine, but I can't come out as politically non-binary, right? I can't. That's wrong. I am seen as bad. I'm seen as just as evil or worse than the other side if I don't pick a side. Or if I think both sides are lame, or if I think both sides, frankly, lead to the same conclusion. It's just the illusion of choice, okay? And I am talking about Apple and Android. They're the goddamn same. There's absolutely no difference between the two of them. I don't care what anybody says. They're all, oh, it's so different. Apple's so much better. I just switched back to an iPhone. I had an iPhone for years, and then I had an Android for years, and I'm back to an iPhone, and it doesn't fucking matter. It's the same. It's the fucking same. All right. Same little kids made this. All right, I won't go into that. You know how I feel about that. Won't go into it. Anyways, I feel like there's got to be a way to just break through these binaries, you know? Break free, break out, take drugs. I don't know. Psychedelics. If you take some psychedelics, you'll see some non-binary shit. Maybe you'll become non-binary. If you do enough drugs, you will become non-binary, okay? You will not know what gender, and you will have no association with gender. That's, I think, different from being a neuter. A neuter, which is sort of like you have no sexuality at all. I knew some neuters. Anyways, I guess what's that? Oh, one last thing I guess I want to talk about, which I thought was funny, was so there's like this article going around about like Spotify. The people at Spotify are demanding that they have editorial oversight over Joe Rogan's podcast, which I think, okay, let's see. Here's what the article, this is the article. It says, sorry, I'm pulling this up. It's Digital Music News. There's an article. Say Spotify employees demanding direct editorial oversight over Joe Rogan podcasts before they're published. This was published on the 18th. A group of Spotify staffers are now reportedly pushing to introduce direct editing oversight over the Joe Rogan Experience before the episodes go live. That includes content flags, trigger warnings, references to fact-checked information, or simply refusing to publish an episode at all. So a group of Spotify staffers want veto power over Joe Rogan's podcast. All right, let's see. Here we go. I'm going to keep reading. The demands follow a string of controversial comments by Joe Rogan, who was lured to Spotify in a massive $100 million deal. Rogan's appeal to millions of listeners is his unfiltered and irreverent approach, though that style isn't sitting well with an activist group of Spotify staffers who say he needs to be reined in. So I guess, earlier they reported that there were some problematic episodes featuring Milo Yiannopoulos, Alex Jones, Gavin McInnes, Owen Benjamin, Stefan Molyneux, Charles Johnson. These are all controversial conservative figures that they left those episodes off, which is weird. The whole thing is that, like, the whole point is that Rogan went to Spotify because, he was supposed to be free. Right? He's supposed to be given absolute freedom, and he got the $100 million deal. And the only thing was he gets on that platform exclusively, but then he gets published elsewhere, and then that's what it is. And I guess, I don't know. I guess that's good for him, right? Everybody's like $100 million, good for him. But I question myself if this isn't if it wasn't kind of a honeypot, because I saw this other thing. This is all on the Joe Rogan subreddit. There's this whole let me find it. I'm trying to find where this video is of the Spotify staff. There's that, they're like blue haired. They all have they have the pronouns. They have their pronouns in the thing. There's like a little. It's just like all about how they're all about gender. I don't know what it's called, equality, gender. The gender thing where everybody has many gender. The 64 gender thing. There was the staff is definitely like the IT guys, blue hair, whatever. I don't know. I'm sorry. I couldn't find the fucking video. I can't find the video. All right. But it's basically just like the Spotify staff all talking about what moves they did toward gender equality, how they vet things to make sure they're not transphobic, like all that stuff, right? Hold on. Okay, I'm back. All right, I found the video. All right, here, I'll just play a little bit.
At Spotify, everyone just trusts each other and has this culture of it's okay to ask questions even if they might be difficult questions.
Pronouns are kind of a tricky subject for me, in that I keep going back and forth about kind of what to use where.
Well, I spent about 30 years or so in the closet because my previous employers didn't have any particular tolerance for transgender people.
At Spotify, we have employee resource groups, and Spectrum is our LGBTQ plus employee resource group.
At Spotify, having a diverse workforce and being inclusive is important so everyone can feel like themselves at work.
Right. Okay. So that's sort of that's a corporate video from Spotify talking about their their attitudes, like that they're cool. They're basically being like, hey, we're cool, everybody. We'll use your pronouns. We're cool, right? And we're gonna do everything we can to make you feel comfortable. So you can see where the problem comes in, right? Is when episodes of Joe Rogan. The Joe Rogan Experience comes out and he's like, trans women are men, or they shouldn't fight or whatever, and then they feel, the trans people who work there feel unsafe, and then they feel like this is going to go out and make other people feel unsafe, and everybody's going to feel unsafe, and then it's their duty to do something to make sure that these bad words don't go out and make people feel unsafe. I mean, it seems futile to me, futile. You know what I mean? You might as well try to stop the UV rays from giving people cancer, right? What about that? There's UV rays everywhere. There's cosmic rays. There's radiation everywhere, giving us all cancer all the time. That's worse than words? Not really, though. I guess because the feelings are what count, and their feelings are more important than radiation poisoning, right? So it's to stop the feelings, the possible bad feelings someone might have. But then, how could you ever control who the fuck feels bad? Right? How could you ever control that? Like, I see this on Twitter all the time. It's like, if you want to be funny, why don't you try to be funny without making people feel bad? But the thing is, how the fuck are you supposed to control how people feel bad? People feel bad over everything. People feel bad depending on the day. People feel bad depending on their moods, their hormones, their past experiences, the fucking what's going on like in their minds at the time. Like there's a million things that go into why a person might take offense at something or feel bad in a certain moment, and in another context they may not. They might just totally laugh. So then we're just gonna have those intrepid transgender employees at Spotify being the guardians of morality for us, the making sure we don't get hurt, the ones who will be the keepers of the flame. Like, we trust them. That's who we trust. People who are picked on their entire lives. That's who we're gonna trust to be the arbiters of what's good and bad, or what's offensive or what's not. To culture and taste. The people who compel you to put your pronouns in your bio, or else you're fired, or not really. They don't. I guess they do it sneakily, or I guess I'm just making that up. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why. Okay, I'm pretty sure if I was at Spotify, I would get fired because I wouldn't put my pronouns up. Because I don't. All right, I went through a whole spiel in the beginning. You know why? You get it. Anyways, I'm just wondering if this Joe Rogan thing, him getting the $100 million, was actually like a honeypot. It was just a way to get him off the reservation. No, I don't know. No, that's not what I mean. It's a way to get him. Well, kind of like he was wild. He was out there. He was by himself. He was independent. So it's a way to rein him in. Put him in a pen, right? Now he's bound by this deal. Put him in there, and now he's sort of vulnerable because now that he's in this entity, whatever the deal is, it all depends on the stipulations of the deal, right? Because he might break free from the deal. Might break the contract, or if Spotify breaks the contract. I mean, who knows? I'm sure Rogan has great lawyers. You know what I'm saying? But this looks like a trap. Because he was sort of untouchable at first, but now he's sort of bound in this Spotify ecosystem, and there are people at Spotify who find some of his views and some of his guests problematic, and they find that maybe they could be harmful to the brain, feelings, and ears of anybody listening. So they got to do something. They got to do something about it, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just making stuff up. I mean, I did a whole thing about how Ruth Bader Ginsburg was going to be reanimated and put into a cyborg body called Darth Bader Ginsburg and become the head of the Supreme Gender Court of America. We're just, you must put your pronouns in your bio. You have 24 hours to comply, or else the penalty is death. Right? See, I mean, I did that, so I did that, and then I went on this weird tirade about the US dollar and the markets as a confidence scam, and then moving your assets from cash, moving cash to assets, or moving from cash to assets. I don't know what I'm talking about. I have no idea what I'm talking about, okay? I'm over $100,000 in the hole. Don't listen to me. I made it wrong. I decided to go to Columbia for film school I don't know why. Well, could it have been cheaper? Yeah. All right. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for listening to the Rojan Kimcast. I appreciate all of you listening. Big shout outs to new listeners, a couple of new subscribers. I'm, thankful that your earballs or whatever, I'm sorry, keep calling them earballs, but whatever they are. I'm sorry. I'm glad I got them. Thank you so much. Shout out again to Koji Bamba. He's listening. Shout out to my cousin Basil. Shout out to Han. Shout out to Sam. Those are my 3 cousins who listen. Shout out to my aunt. My aunt who's listening. She's listening. She's growing weed. She's growing my weed. She's growing weed that I grew in a closet in New York, and now it's legal, so it's totally fine. And it's growing on the grave of my cat. So that's whatever. That's all great stuff. Shout out to everybody else listening. Thank you so much. Please follow me on Instagram, Twitter. Find me on Spotify for now until they kick me off for being problematic. Maybe. No. Thankfully, only you guys listen, so I don't think that's going to happen. But if you want, tell Spotify that I have a problematic view on gender, and then maybe I'll get a bumpski, maybe I'll get a big ol', maybe everybody in Spotify, all of the transgender police or whatever, will then listen, and I'll get a nice bump in the numbers. I don't know. A little bump in the numbers wouldn't hurt, whatever. It's all meaningless. But Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, I'm on there. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.